What's up, everybody? Holy crap! What a show I got for you guys today. I am so excited. I've been waiting for this all day. I've been excited about this all day. Ah, so um, you guys obviously saw the video I had made about the boycott and peeling the sticker. So a gentleman had commented uh, after he had seen the video, and I was very intrigued by the guy's comments. And so we ended up getting in touch with one another. And I said, look, I'd really like to have you come on the show and, go live with me and, just speak your mind, let everybody know your opinions of your concerns and all this. And, we'll just do an interview. And then after the interview, we'll go to the chat and see if there's any other questions that people have, and we'll just make a fun time of it. His opinions differed from mine, and that intrigued me even more. You guys know we had just actually talked about this not too long ago, that I enjoy this kind of thing. So it was crazy how it all just came about. I'm trying to pull up my notes here. There we go. All right. So the gentleman's name is Angelo. And we're going to, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do the interview off the bat. So I won't be reading any of the comments while we're doing the interview. Once the interview is over, we'll then go to the comments, and whatever questions you guys got, we'll go from there. So I would just ask that everyone that's here is probably somebody who has been here before. You guys know, if it's an opinion that doesn't gel with you, that's cool. That's kind of the whole point of this. We respect one another, and I would assume, like I said, that pretty much everybody here is people that have been here before. So I don't really think I need to get this out, but I figured just in case there's somebody here, we keep this professional. That's why I have so many moderators that watch through this stuff. Anybody gets crazy, and we have to end it. I mean, as far as your ability to comment anymore, I just won't tolerate that. So it's going to be a very respectful thing. If his opinions gel with you, great. If they don't, great. But we're just here to enjoy the conversation and the interview. And like I said, I've really, really been looking forward to this. I hope you guys will enjoy it. So sit back, relax. Again, the gentleman's name is Angelo S. So I'll just be referring to him as Angelo. And let's get this party started. Let's bring up Mr. Angelo.
What's going on, John?
Hey, man. So I want to start with this. I want to thank you so much for doing this, because this is wild. You're actually the very first person I've ever been able to interview that has other opinions other than my own, or somebody that hasn't been on this channel for a while. And, we're just talking, to somebody who's already pretty much knowing, what I'm going to think and what they're thinking. So this is just a whole new situation. And I'm so grateful you decided to do this.
Not a problem. I'm happy to be here.
So let's just start off with something simple here. Where are you from? How old are you? A little brief kind of synopsis of your background. Kind of let us know who we're talking to.
Well, I was born in Ridgewood, Euclid, which is considered East New York, in New York. I lived there. I was born there. I was raised there for a few years. I moved out to Long Island. I lived in Brentwood over there. About 18 years old, about 16 years old, I found that I used to like to cut out from school and go to the library and look up books and data on Saturn V rocket engines. The school just didn't entertain me. So about 16, 17, when that happened, I kind of faded out of school. I got my first job pumping gas. And after a couple of years, now let me point out that I ultimately wound up in Richmond Hill / Ozone Park. And the story to tell about that is that was Mafia Central. Okay, you had, I live currently 5 blocks from John Gotti's social club on 101 Avenue. And I drove past there any number of times, and I seen him out there holding court, talking to the fellas. And this was, I drove his son a number of times when I drove for my brother-in-law's car service when he needed drivers when he was short. I helped him out there, and I drove his son. I drove Sammy the Bull Gravano a couple of places.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was right in the thick of it, okay? And, it wasn't until maybe I was about 35, 40 when I realized, holy shit, I'm right in the middle of it over here. There really is no other place on earth that is mob related than where I was at. So I joined the Army at the age of 18 because, again, now I'm segueing out of the mafia deal. At my age, the thing would have been to become a mafioso, which I was asked to be a part of, which would have amounted to they start giving me a few dollars in an envelope and a gun, and then I would have to do their bidding. Whatever came along at some point, I would have to do it. And my father got wind of it. Now I was not looking to do it, but my father got wind of it nonetheless, and he kind of he went after me, and he was like, if I had any reservations, I had no reservation at that point. There was no chance of me doing it. And he made me think about what it was. His own words were, if any one of them, meaning the mobsters, were on fire, he wouldn't piss on them to put them out. So, especially that they had given the Italians in general such a bad reputation. So I wound up, deliberately, I was also studious. I also liked electronics and so on. I stood by myself. So it was a question of becoming a part of these wannabe mafioso or doing something with my life. So there was a recruiting station, and what I did is I walked in there one day, and before you know it, I was on a plane to El Paso, Texas, where I studied my MOS, my military occupational specialty was 24 Charlie, which was high-powered illuminating radar mechanic. That was the title.
Wow.
I worked on the radars that, you see, you had two radars for the Hawk missile system. One acquired the target. Now that puts out a broad beam of microwave trying to locate any target that's in the air. If you locate a target in the air, then you illuminate it with essentially what would be considered a spotlight. But instead of it being light that you could see, it was radar. The Hawk missile system was a beam rider, which means that you shoot out this microwave, it bounces back off the target, and then your missile homes in on that stream of microwaves to attack the target. Now, I worked on the Hawk missile system, and just when I was about to leave the service, they started coming out with the Patriot, which everybody must have heard about at this point, especially in light of the thing that's going on over there in Ukraine. Yeah. So I left the service, I came back, and drugs were all over the place. Okay, I got out in '85. I went to stay with my father for a bit in Hollywood, Florida. When I went back to New York, as a matter of fact, when I was in Hollywood, Florida, I remember reading, I was in a dentist's office. I remember reading an article about crack and what it was doing in New York. So whatever, it was an article, it didn't mean much. And then finally, after I spent some time in Florida, I said, okay, well, let me head back to New York, and I have things that I want to do. And when I got back, New York was all cracked and coked out of it. Okay. I went to work temporarily for my brother-in-law because he needed it. And he owned a cab company right in the thick of things. If you knew the neighborhood and you seen the layout, on one end you had City Line, which was all mobsters. On the other end, you had Howard Beach, where John Gotti lived, and 4 other Italian mob bosses lived, and an untold number of mafioso underlings. So I went to work. I went to work for him, and the first call the dispatcher gives me it says DR at top. I didn't know what DR was. I knew the address. I knew how to get around New York. So I go and pick the guy up, and I take him into East New York, Pickin and Shepherd. And he's told me to pull over. So I pull over, and he runs in this darkened building, and he comes out a few minutes later. After a minute, he's like, okay. Next thing I know is he's trying to pay me $20 for a cab ride that only should have been maybe about $3 or $4. And all of a sudden I'm putting things together. What's going on here? And besides the $20 bill, he tries to give me a vial of crack as a tip. So I just realized what just happened. The DR turns out to stand for drug run. The dispatcher put DR on me. Now I'm like, are you?
Wow.
Now the other thing about this is I lived in East New York. So when I come back to this environment, I'm depressed for 6 months. You know, they say you can't go home, John, but things change, but they're not supposed to have changed as much as they did. Okay? It was primarily an Italian neighborhood with Jews and Irish people. Now I come back, and this is my first experience with the place. I had no idea that things were what they were. It was all African American and Spanish. Now, if you want to make me out to be racist for what I just said, go right ahead. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not talking about the fact that they were black. I'm talking about the fact that where I grew up had changed to the degree that it changed.
Sure.
Okay? When I was in the Army, I hung out with black guys. We went to clubs. We did all kinds of things. We got along beautifully. And if I had it my way, I would hang out with a black guy as easily as with a white guy, so long as they acted, respectful.
Sure.
So I was depressed, and it really set me off as to what was happening. So that's a little bit of a preparation for, why I left comments, the types of videos I look for, and the things that I'm interested in these days. That set me off to the mindset that there's so much good. We're heading towards a bad place. About 30 years ago, I don't know why, but it just started popping into my head. We're either going to blow ourselves up or things are going to get fixed. There's no in between. And I developed that mantra in my head, and it's still with me. And as I sit here right now talking to you, I live my life. I watch my cat and dog videos, but anything that comes up, I am all over. I am, I want to know about it. I want to see, is it taking us towards the blowing ourselves up direction or fixing ourselves? And
with that, let's go into that. That's actually a good intro. You somehow came across the video I posted.
Right.
Can you kind of walk us through? So you saw the video, you're watching the video. What then led you to comment on the video? And do you recall what you were commenting when you left it?
Well, it started off with seeing the first one, which was Chicago Ray. He's the guy that kicked all this off. And, I've been waiting to figure out how this thing is going to get resolved. Where is going to be our in? So I'm always looking for that. It started, you mentioned Canada. I had a good time with Canada because the truckers over there, they let it be known, the power that they had. And it led you to believe, holy shit, that might be the way. These guys now, once they woke up and they're wanting to do this and do that, they got some power. So when I seen what was going on with this Chicago Ray, I'm thinking to myself at first, oh, whoa, there we go. I had chills up and down my spine. It seemed like the American way. And, of course, before this, we heard what happened to Trump. And it's undoubted that even people who were on the fence or slightly against Trump had to admit what happened to Trump was the weaponization of the legal system. So this is them overstepping their bound. They can't help themselves. It's just going to get worse and worse. Why? Because people are waking up and they have to do more and more drastic things. And this is representative of that. So when I seen this guy Chicago Ray, the first inclination was to say, "Oh man, this is good." And I live in New York, so the potential for prices going up be damned. And I thought to myself, okay, I could see this having potential. They get people pissed off, and now you can get this prosecutor out of office. You can throw the judge off the bench, and of course you have the governor who chimed in by saying, listen, don't worry. If you own a business, don't worry. This ain't going to happen to you. That lets you know right there that you weaponized the legal system. What are you telling people not to worry for? Is it such a horrendous thing? Yeah, of course it was a horrendous thing. It was something that shouldn't have been done. Now you got to go and tell other businesses not to worry. So you just blew up the spot even further. So now with all of that, I'm like, look at what's happening. And now the truck is to the rescue. So when I see that video, like I said, I got chills going up and down my spine. I'm like, son of a bitch. Okay, yeah, I could see it. If they step up, I could see potential in here. It might not fix everything, but it's a start. And then I started looking for videos, one video after the next. Now, it's just my nature to see different sides of the story. So at first, I'm seeing it for at face value. Truckers stepping up, boycotting. What kind of effect could that have? Well, that gets people pissed off. That puts pressure on the politician. Maybe we can get this, like I said, we can get this judge off the bench. Maybe we can get the prosecutor off the bench or out of her position. But my brain, after I sleep on things, kicks out different sides of the story. And I seen the potential, and I just was concerned. If you remember the comment, I said, if truckers want to boycott, so be it. Let them step up. But if you've got the potential for it turning into a shit show for profit, where you lose, if you lose the moral high ground of why you're doing this, and it turns out to trucking companies, pretending like, well, we're not sending anything, and they hang the phone up, just waiting for the phone to call back, to ring back, so that they could say, well, I don't know, but these guys, I got some guys, they're willing to do it, but they want more money. And to see what the response is, or maybe even people just call up on their own and say, look, I'll give you an extra 20%. I'll give you. Now you're losing the moral high ground, and anything that you're looking to resolve with this boycott, you're just creating an additional problem. As a matter of fact, you're making things actually potentially worse. And all of this is because of the individuals that are in certain positions, and they're causing all of this nonsense. So you got the truckers, rightfully, because the truckers are for Trump, but I have something to say about that as well. But they're for Trump, and you just overstepped your bound. You did it. You finally got to a point where it's like, hey, no, we're not going to let this one go. And you're just stepping up, but I seen the potential. And I don't want to lose, so I went around to all the different videos, and I posted essentially the same statement, the same comment in as many videos as I could. I just wanted to throw out there, listen, guys, I get you. I know you work hard. You're the salt of the earth. And I don't say that about anyone. But listen, let me just say, please, just keep in mind, we can't turn this into a shit show for profit. We're trying to fix things. What you've seen them do with the legal system against Trump, and you mentioned the proper way to look at it, take Trump out of the equation. If you just look at what they did, period, fine, something has to be done, but let's not lose the moral high ground. And some of it will happen, and that's okay, but I'm not afraid to put my 2 cents in. I'm not afraid to say, well, I don't know what kind of effect it's going to have or how people are going to receive me. This is what I feel I need to do. I resolved myself quite a while ago. I stood off of social media and the internet, even though I'm into electronics, for X number of years, not knowing the value. But then, as I seen the value of what's happening right now between you and I, and all the potential ways that people can, finally take or participate in our government and in our, share ideas, that's when I got into social media. And as a result of it, it caused me to, watch what happened with the situation with Trump, followed by the truckers stepping up and then leaving some comments, and then what transpired between us. But I've tracked everything as it's come up in social media, and it's effortless for me. You think that my whole life was encompassed with this stuff, but it's not. It's just something that I've always been able to do. I take things slow. I'm slow on the uptake, but once I get it, I get it. You know, we could talk about fentanyl. We could talk about the cartels. We could talk about the what's immigration. Because when I seen that, I didn't know nothing about it until a couple of months ago. All of a sudden, I see this thing about immigration. I'm all over it. Not like a nut. I just want to know. Wait, well, huh? Immigrate? What are you talking about? How many are coming over? And then you got 175,000 just in New York, and you've got the governor of Texas stepping up. And what a deal we got there, where he had to defy the Supreme Court in order to protect his state. Then you're looking for answers, because when I first heard about it, I'm searching. Wait a minute, why? I know that there's no good reason, but what is the reason, at least, that they're going to say that they're doing? And there is no reason. Nobody's saying anything. So I went to watch a few press conferences for the White House, and you got that broad, I don't know what her name is, the one with the afro, the black chick. And
Yeah,
they're
that's
hitting
Jean.
yeah, I mean, I
Whatever,
don't know, because I
Santier or
only
whatever.
watched it twice. I didn't care what her name was. I just listened to her response and I turned it off. You got the reporters saying, but they're putting barbed wires up and that's keeping them out. So, and she's saying, yeah, but we need to have the border security do their job. Somebody's saying, why does the border security need to do their job if the barbed wire is keeping them out? And you could see she's going around in circles. There's something up. And that's when I realized, okay, it is exactly what I think it is. It's happening, and nobody's saying why it's happening. So now I got to step back, and sure enough, you know, I kind of segued into this, but sure enough, I go to sleep and my brain goes to work, and I wake up and I'm like, I think that they're trying to let these guys in the country, because if any of the videos you watch, they'll go, why are all of these immigrants, military age immigrants, coming into this country? And it was the thought of military age. It didn't mean anything, but it was a sticking point in my head. And I guess I went to sleep and I formulated the opinion, son of a bitch, they're letting these guys in because American teams don't want to join the service. They see what's going on with all the woke bullshit, and they're bringing them into this country, and they're gonna put them in the military. Watch, they're gonna nationalize them. They're gonna give them green cards. They're gonna make them citizens. They're gonna put them in the military. I was right, but I had it wrong. They are going to enlist them into the military if they want. There was a bill just drafted or attempting to be drafted. I sent you the link to the article. And
Yeah.
their attempt is, their thing now is, he went before Congress. This is already proposed in front of Congress. We'll let them join. If they join, it'll be a fast track to becoming a U.S. citizen. And you know, it sucks being right, but I call a lot of shit, and it's only because I care. I care, and I investigate, and my brain goes to work, and it kicks this out. So this was a quick one. I formulated the thought that they were going to enlist these guys in the military. They were going to nationalize them, and then put them in the military, or look to put them in the military. And in 3 days, I see this news station. It was one of these little news stations out in the center of the country who did a report on it, and they actually seen the video of the congressman standing there proposing this. And within 3 days, within like 2 weeks, I learned about the immigration. I researched it. I came to the conclusion that I bet you it's for military, to put them into military service, and then all of a sudden you've got a congressman. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of your viewers, because this was just happenstance that I found out about it, and then I looked into it. I would wager that a lot of your viewers won't know that this was proposed. I know that you didn't know when I had addressed it to you. So, but now, let me tell you, it gets worse, because I'm watching Joe Rogan, and instead of the whole podcast, it was one of his little clips. And the title might have read something about the immigration. They were discussing with somebody, and I listened to it, but I don't know who it was. I do want to go back to see what qualifications this individual has, but I could tell the story without saying who it was. So Joe Rogan was having the interview. Now, I click in and I tune in, and Joe Rogan starts off with pondering. But what do you think they have so many people coming? I can't make heads or tails of it. So he's sitting there, probably all smoked out because he likes to smoke on air. And he's pondering this question. And I'm like, okay, well, and now the guy he's got on, he says, well, Rogan says to him, well, why do you think? And the guy starts off, well, some things have been posed to me. He says, I want to, they really, and he's just about stuttering, trying to get this out. If he would have just spit it out, he would say, the things I've heard are pretty amazing. And you know what? They're scary as shit. But he didn't say that. He stuttered around. And here is the what I thought, which is bringing them into the military, but taking it a step further. Now, you already got a congressman proposing the bill. There it is. That's a fact. So now you only got to go so far to listen to what this guy had to say and decide for yourself, is it possible? And it is possible. Is it the case? I don't know, but it's possible. And they could use these individuals in such a way. Now, let me explain the way. If you take the United States military, January 6th was considered what? The insurrection. Who did they use to bust the insurrection? They called in the National Guard and the police. Now, here's where you had to have been paying attention. The National Guardsmen that they brought in had to be vetted by the FBI 3 separate levels deep. So now you got National Guards throughout the country. FBI had to interview this guy. What did they interview him for? They had to make sure that they were going to go there and protect these meatballs in Washington against the American people. They had to make sure that that's what because you had certain people that would be like, I ain't doing that. Screw that. I don't care what you say. I'm not doing it. This is the American people, and I happen to agree with what they're doing. So they were vetted once. And if the group that the FBI agents that vetted them the first time says, okay, I think this guy's good, they sent them to another group of FBI agents to be vetted again. They wanted no chance that they were going to let somebody in that wouldn't do what these meatballs wanted them to do. Now, let me
ask you this on the kind of getting back to the boycott of this thing.
Okay.
Because we kind of just went and shot off.
Okay.
So one of the things we had talked about was that, and the reason I want to explain the title, because what led me to put that title up was your idea that the boycott would be more of not a boycott, but a money making scheme versus a legit boycott. So that was the title situation. So the overall biggest concern that I was getting at the time was that the effect that this boycott would then have on people in New York would be basically the prices of everything skyrocketing, the stores emptying out like they did through COVID.
Okay.
So wouldn't you consider that the point of doing a boycott is to make things difficult in order to invoke change quickly?
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I told you I'm a stickler for old sayings.
Sure.
The intention, like I told you, I think I made the point. I tried to give the proper timeline. When I first heard Chicago Ray mention the boycott, I chills up and down my spine. Yeah, okay, beautiful. They're stepping up. But then you start to look at how things can go wrong. That's the programmer in me. When you're writing software, it's very easy to write a piece of software that's going to crash your computer and you lose all your work. So you double check everything. And you take what Chicago Ray was originally proposing, and according to what you're saying, make change quick. But all of a sudden, if you stop to look at it from the potential of what I said, it's not hard to see that the potential is there. Now, which way is it going to go? First of all, you need a tremendous number of patriotic truckers to refuse to go. That's where it starts. Then you would have to have the scabs come in, and the companies who aren't looking for the patriotic angle, they're looking for the money gouge. So it all starts with, first and foremost, the patriotic individuals to step up and say, like you, who took the razor blade and you took the sticker off your truck. So it starts there. Now, do you want it turning into nothing but a money grab? When I see the money grab, when I look at this situation, let's talk about Enron. They were making it years ago when they were having all the rolling blackouts in Los Angeles. And then they caught those guys on tape. They were talking on the phone on how, at some point they developed the idea that they could claim rolling blackouts so that they could raise the price of electricity. So if you look at what's happening with the truckers, I didn't, in my mind, I'm making a connection here. I didn't want it to become something where, you have certain people who then start coordinating boycotts so that they can make their millions. Now,
Right.
am I
But
reaching?
that is going to be an individual decision through the company wide. You're never going to be able to get, just like the convoy I was in. At first, we were all for one and one for all, and everything was
Right,
one behind the other, and we were all going.
right,
As the convoy began to continue and go on, well, then there started to become these divisions of, well, we're with this clique and we're with this clique
exactly.
and we're
So,
okay. And it was just the natural progression of it. And I don't think anyone thought that was going to happen because nobody had ever done this before. We were all doing this for the first time. And it was just a natural division that it got worse and worse and worse over time, to where by the time it was done, it was just so frayed and destroyed. There was just nothing left to even make a point with,
right,
so it just turned disastrous. And I see that with this same situation. You're going to have, a lot of truckers that are banned and going, yeah, let's do this. And then somebody says, hey, since they're doing that, we could do this and make the money. So I don't say that what you're pointing out wouldn't happen. More than likely it would, and especially with the foreigners that are going to be like, I don't care. I mean, it could happen,
right, right,
but it's a matter of how many are able to. If there's more doing the right than the wrong, it would still have the caused effect. Even if it's just a massive wake-up call, it would still be enough to have rung the bells of a lot of people that are going to go, that was a really close call. We may not want to push that button again, because if they do it again, it may not work out the same way. So, even if it is just that wake-up call, it could be enough. So there's multiple different ways that I feel like this could go down. And although nobody can make a guarantee, because again, this is a first for everybody. A guy came up with the idea, then I heard about it, then you saw my video, this is how it happens. So
okay,
there's no guarantees.
no
It,
doubt.
it could be that we're going to have bad apples, because bad apples are in every bunch, but you've always got them.
Exactly.
So
You're
it's
speaking
just a
the
matter
truth.
of, so it's just a matter of who has more people. Do the Patriots come forth and do what they got to
But
do,
John,
or
look at where we're at. When I talked to you earlier, I said I'm trying to do research to see where this thing is going, and there would have
sure?
been nobody better to talk to than you, because you're a trucker, and you came back and I don't know. It's like it's the same situation as yesterday. It's progressed. It hasn't. We don't even know where it's going. You know, if you look at what you see on the internet, it started off in a big way, right? Like Chicago Ray supposedly had 6 million views, which would have led you to believe that a tremendous number of truckers had looked at that on X. But it all starts with, look, you can't learn everything through experience. You have to think some things through and be prepared before it unfolds. A great example is what you just said about your convoy that you just went through. Everybody was going to show up. Everybody had this single-minded idea. But like Mike Tyson says, you got to plan to get in the ring and fight this guy a certain way until he hits you. And then the plan goes out the window. And this is the thing that we have to become good at. This is why when a guy steps up like me and throws a little cold water on the party and says, listen, and my exact words in the comment was, listen, if they're going to do it, do it. That's no problem. I'm not here to tell you. But the comment that I followed it up with is look, if you start getting trucking companies or independent truckers starting to gouge, and they're taking loads up to New York or running up to New York to pull a load out of there, and they're charging exorbitant fees, my exact words to you was they were no better than the prosecutor and the judge that presided over the Trump case. And
Sure.
now, listen, I could say that, and then it comes back and you see that some of it happened. I'm all for that. Listen, I'm like you. It seems like you're the type of guy. Let's throw it in there and see what happens, and we'll go from there. So I'm not sitting here in any certain definite way, but I said what I think needed to be said, and it's a legitimate thing, and it's something that I've seen up front. And if you stop to think about it, by addressing that, I mean, I'm saying it to you, and there might be a few people, whoever's listening right now, they're hearing it, and it's food for thought. And in the end, if a few people, a few bad apples, as you say, step up for themselves and not the morality of the situation, so be it. But you want to try to minimize that to as much as you can.
Right, but trying to organize that in a situation where we know each other by having caught a video. It isn't like there was a group of folks that culminated together, got all their ideas together, and they made a plan. This was something that was shot out and just kind of got picked up. And so now it's just everybody doing what they feel is in their desired path, whether it's trying to scam it or whether it's trying to,
Exactly. So, but here's the thing. The spontaneity of the situation, as you're pointing out, is exactly true. But nonetheless, we have learned that truckers have power. Okay, farmers, if you look at what's happening in Europe, farmers have power. Okay, now there's your starting point, buddy. You grow a crystal, you need a seed. It's got to start somewhere. And out of nowhere, we see what truckers can do. Okay, so they ran up to the border and things fell apart. The intent was there. If you look at the George Floyd riots, how many times did the blacks get together and things fizzle out before finally, things exploded? And that's what's happening with the truckers trying to take back America. It's starting. I see it as the generator coming on. You ever see when the blackout, but then the lights come back on, they flicker. And I see that flicker in you guys. And you're being the catalyst. And no more fitting of people than truckers. You fucking guys actually work for a living. You deal with the flow. You deal, you got the life of a cop, a military guy, and all this shit all at once, where you have to leave loved ones behind. It becomes, and you guys have been through it. And once you ever get your shit together, where the plan is better, as you said, like on the convoy up to the border, you guys are going to be able to pull it off. And so I look at that's the positive side of it. It's the fact that it happened 2 or 3 times. And here's the thing. It's not going to stop, John. The next thing is going to happen. Okay? The next plane is going to hit the building. The next, it goes from fentanyl to, I don't know if you're aware of what's going on in Philadelphia. They mix the fentanyl with this tranquilizer, and it's causing zombies. It's causing, another topic. But it's not going to stop, okay? And people have to do something. We're going to have to do something. It won't stop. It shouldn't stop. Because these people are single-minded. We didn't see it coming. They infested like roaches, right? They multiplied, and now they're in certain positions, and now we got to dig them out. And I don't have a doomsday scenario. What I have is we could sit around forever and it can go on forever. Or we can eventually get up. We're going to go through bullshit either way. We can get up and do something and it's going to cause change in our life. And we're going to look at it and say, I can't believe we got to do this. But once we start doing it, we're going to think, this ain't that bad. People have to participate. You've got to clean this up. You know, if you remember when you were a kid and your mother told you, you got to get up and you got to clean your room, how many times and what did it take until finally it sunk in? Before my mother has to tell me tonight, I'm going to get up, and you get up for that first time and you start cleaning your room. Our country has to be dealt with by the people. And it's foreign to us because it's not the way, but it was kept from us. They did their due diligence to make us think, you know, they've got it all under control. George Bush Jr., he made the statement in front of a town hall meeting, think of me as your father. Leave it to me. I'll take care of everything. And everybody booed. Okay. I made a point to you that, and now this is keeping with the truckers. I don't want you to think I went off on a tangent, because the truckers is, at the end of the day, trying to make change. We've had enough. Okay. Trying to make change. Now, we're first of all, you know, can I segue into Trump, into the Trump part of it?
Yeah, I'm trying to focus this on
Go ahead,
just
go
the
ahead, go
boycott
ahead.
for
No
now.
problem. No problem. Go
So
ahead.
currently, you have a mass exodus. You know, we were talking about the ramifications of what this could possibly do to New Yorkers. Now,
Okay.
you have a mass exodus of businesses, including retail, manufacturing, the corner bodega. Okay. And when you look at that exodus, it's the exact same ramifications as what's going, or what could happen if this actually panned out, because there's nothing, nobody's employed anymore because everybody's leaving. Remington just left Inley, New York after 208
200
years.
I just read the article.
Yeah. Now they've left and went to Georgia. That's just the latest one.
Right.
But this has been happening on a daily basis. So although when I first read your comments, and I was looking at, you know, what you were talking about what will happen to other New Yorkers, and, you know, the people that don't even deserve this are not part of it. But it kind of seems like everyone is a part of it, whether they think of it in a macro view versus a micro view.
Okay. Well, I want to be clear. I never looked at it. I never said, well, you got to be careful because people might suffer. I'm fully aware that people might suffer, and I might be one of them. It might cost me a little bit more out of my pocket, but I'm all for it. I mean, when you cut cancer out, you got to take some of the good tissue with it. I don't have a problem. What I said to you is not to have it change around to where it becomes a money grab. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're going to boycott and you're going to raise the price by virtue of the fact that you can't get goods in or merchandise out, and by the way, when you can't get merchandise out of New York, and New York produces, I don't know, you would know better than I do how much merchandise they produce that goes out of state to provide jobs or goods or what have you for, you know, maybe products that need to be finished off or completed products that are sold in stores. I don't know. You would know better than I. So you're not just potentially raising the price for New Yorkers here in New York. You might be doing it in other places. But anyway, I wanted to make the point because I read my thing twice, and I said to you, you know, if they boycott, so be it. Let's go. Let it roll. I just wanted to bring up the point that, you know, to not have it turn around to be a money grab by trucker companies and independents when it comes to exorbitant trucking fees. That was my concern because, you know, it's going to happen. Like you said, see, we're covering all the ground. We're working everything out and we're accepting things for as they are. You're going to have some people that are going to do that. But, you know, let it roll if that's what you're going to do. But if you turn around and it winds up being nothing but the prices go up and more or less enough product is getting in that people aren't starving, what happens then if they don't step up and realize what's going on? What if they don't know that they got to contact the governor and say, look, you got to get this verdict reviewed on what happened to Trump, because where is this going to come from? I mean, where is this going to get reversed? Is it going to get reversed in on appeal, or is it going to get reversed because they locally say, wait a minute, we took a look at this. This is nonsense. Bada boom. I don't know. See, these are all things that need to be looked at. And, I got to be the one at this point, at least on this conversation, I'm the one that wants to, like, it seems like I'm throwing a wrench in the works. No, screw that. Come on, let's just boycott. We'll worry about things have gotten too far. Yeah, okay. But you're still going to need people, and you are going to need it, and I'm going to need it, and everybody's going to need to try to think as logically as possible. Because I'm not one for biting my nose to spite my face. I'm not one to see other people suffer because I'm suffering, or I'm looking to, if I'm going to inconvenience people, there's got to be a shot of things getting better. I can go through, I know in my life I learned you go through bullshit either way. You could sit still, you're going to go through bullshit. If you're not doing nothing to fix it, you're going to perpetually go through bullshit. If you get up to do something, you're going to go through bullshit, but eventually you go through that bullshit to see your way clear. I'm not going to go through bullshit that I'm trying to go through just, to have it fall apart on the back end. Now, I realize
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this with that. A lot of people would say, and I guess I'd have to throw myself in that ring in the arena, that New York has done their very best to perpetuate the current situation they're in. It seems like the worst possible choice is who they pick. So with that, how much of this would you say is on them? Like, they've almost created the dynamic that we have now, and it seems like we're trying to sweep up a situation.
You're not getting my point. I have no problem in giving them feedback. They need to feel pain. If the pain is finally going to, oh, wait a minute, a little bit of Old Testament, a little bit of eye for eye. Not a problem.
No. You're not getting me. What I'm saying is, do you think we have November coming up. Do you think that with this, the boycott, with all of the shit that they're feeling with the burglaries and the businesses leaving and the exodus, do you think it will be enough to change the voting habits of the people of New York? Because, they're normally going for the Democratic side, and it's always going to Ship Mountain. Do you think this will be enough?
You're opening up a can of worms that you got to be careful, because I got plenty to say on that. And the thing is, if I don't know, whenever you might be ready, maybe we won't have enough time. But if you get around to talking about Trump himself, we were talking about the case, and the case revolving around Trump stands on its own 2 feet.
Sure.
You look at that from the point of view of what they did, and you leave it at that. The fact that they did it to Trump or any given individual is notwithstanding. It's wrong for what it was, and it needs to be dealt with. Now, when you start talking about Trump, you got different topics, and it kind of segues into what you're asking right now, because, I can't answer that question because you don't have people that you can elect that will make a difference. You see, what you just phrased your question, will this wake people up and make them elect different people? The way the system is structured right now, you don't get to run unless you're sanctioned. So you're always choosing. For the last 60 years, and I'm 62 years old, I knew probably by the age of 5, you're always choosing between, the lesser of two evils. Even if it is the lesser, they're the same evil. It's just a question of red or blue. So when you think about it that way, that's a bummer. You asked a pretty good question, but I came back with an answer that's like, holy fuck, wait a minute. There's nobody to choose. So-called elected officials cannot run the country. We need to run the country. We need to do it. I told you, I'm a stickler for old sayings. You want a job done right, you do it yourself. It's foreign to us. For me for me to talk like this is like, where's this guy to where? How do we run the? Yeah, what do you think? You're a fucking trucker, man, and you survived how long being a trucker with all the shit they put you through? If you can fucking drive a truck today, you got to know. Especially you're an independent, you work for. If you can pull it off day in and day out, you can run a household. If you can run a household, you can run the country. They've got us so convinced that you don't know. Everybody's so spun around. You think it's difficult to run a country. They've got everybody convinced it's difficult to run a country. We've got representatives in Washington because that's the way it started. When this country was first initialized, there was only a handful of people that could read and write. And they had a pure heart, and they were out with the best intentions, and they put together a pretty good fucking system for the day. And it slowly evolved, or I should say devolved, into what you have today. Everybody can read, man. You're selling yourself short. Well, what is it?
Okay.
What is it to run the country?
I like quantum physics, and I kind of feel like what you're proposing is quantum, because it's everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
It's a quantum jump.
Wait, what I mean by that is that is not a feasible. There is no probability that will occur. So in my lifetime,
there is no probability that it cannot occur.
The system we're on is what we're going to be. Do what now?
There's no possibility that it's not going to be what I said. Mark my words. Give me a second, okay? Let me ask you something. My mother, here's another old saying: the harder it gets, the easier it becomes. Were you guys sparked to take action throughout history? No. It finally got to a point where they did something so obvious that you guys stood up. Okay? So look at the direction it's headed. And I'm going to tell you right where things are going to stand. Mark my words. Think what you want. I don't care. I do care, but there's nothing I can do about it. Things are going to keep popping up, probably no worse than what we've already seen. We've seen some pretty bad shit. We've seen school shootings. We've seen fentanyl. We've seen this migrant. We've seen planes hit buildings. We've seen what they just did to Trump, which is a blatant whatever. I mean, if you don't understand that in and of yourself, there's nothing I can do to explain it to you. These things will keep happening. Shout out to Canada. They stepped up with their trucker, and when the government went to the tow truck drivers, are you fucking kidding me? These truckers you want me to tow, they're my brothers, they're my fathers, they're my brother-in-laws. And if they're not related to me, they're where I get my business. I ain't towing their trucks. And they finally had to go to the bank institutions. Okay? You don't see it. It can't work the way that they want it to work. It's convenient. Let's use the thing from Gore, the book title from Gore, An Inconvenient Truth. Okay? They don't want change. Do you understand? And because they don't want change, things can't change. We have to change them, and it has to be, you mentioned quantum. And believe it or not, that's a term that I use to describe what we need. We need a quantum change. You're not going to see any graduation between where we are, a slow linear acceleration. You're going to see a quantum jump. It's going to be amazing. It's either going to happen or it's not. What do you think? Look at what they just did. Is it going to stop? Look at what they did. Let me tell you how my brain works. Roe versus Wade. Are you familiar with Roe versus Wade when I say Roe versus Wade?
Oh, God, yes.
That's the abortion issue.
It was just reversed.
Now, it was just reversed. How in the fuck was that reversed? Do you know why it was reversed? To get all the activists off of what was going on in the direction they were headed and put them back to dealing with Roe versus Wade, to put them back to dealing with abortion. Now that I said that, does it seem feasible? Does it seem real that that's the tactics that they use? Does it make you go, holy shit, maybe he's right? Roe versus Wade wasn't overturned because somebody looked at it and decided it needed to be overturned. They overturned it because it's a hot button issue. And it's a big enough hot button issue to get everybody's heads to turn, if for a second, and some, their heads will turn for forever. They'll be on it until they change it. And now they're using up the energy of people who have passion and who have the gumption to get up and deal with shit, and they're preoccupied with trying to deal with Roe versus Wade right now. I could spell it all out. All you got to do is give a damn. And when I'm saying that we have to run things that seems foreign, what you're up against, let me tell you, it can't keep going. It can't keep going the way that it is. So you got to decide, either we're going to participate. I mean, if I said we had to vote, are you prepared to vote? Who are you going to vote for? So if that's the case, that means you do nothing. And if you do nothing, what do you expect to happen in the long run? How many kids don't know anything? I don't know anything about the government and how it's structured. I looked into it a little bit because just to take a look, what's the difference between a senator and a congressman? They don't. This is what you're supposed to learn in school. You don't learn this in school. You can't go to someone and ask. You can research it a little bit, but for what? The system is antiquated. You know, bringing up Joe Rogan again. He says, how absurd that is. You got a president. He says, I got 3 kids. I can't keep track of them. And you got one guy who's sitting in the White House. He's supposed to look after 350 million people. And when you think about it, and the way I focus and stay focused is, if you had the most sincere individuals on the planet, and you put them into Congress and you put them into office, the way things are set up, they can't do it. You can't do 350 million people. You got the cartels working against you now. You've got other countries. Look at what Germany did with the exhaust. Look at the fucking shit they tried to perpetrate with the emissions fraud. Okay? So much so that the CEO killed himself. He couldn't, the shame of what he did. Couldn't believe they got caught. You're getting hit from all directions, John. You say it can never happen. Then what the fuck would you even consider boycotting for? You might as well only try to put a boycott together to do a money grab, because that's all you're going to get out of it if your attitude is it's not going to change.
I don't. Yeah, but you're taking it from one extreme to the next. I'm talking about trying to address a single issue, meaning the state of New York.
No, wait a minute. Are you
New York City.
Are you addressing the symptom, or are you looking at the disease?
Yeah, but in order to get to that, there are steps. You don't just automatically have a cure. There are steps that have to go to that in order to reach the cure.
You see, that's where I'm trying to explain to you. Things are different now. There are a lot of good people. There's a lot of good in the world. There's a lot of good stuff, man. I'm holding a laptop. I pay a tablet. I paid $80 for it. The picture on it rivals any CRT. There's a lot of good stuff, man. I'm talking to you right now. Okay? This is a beautiful thing. Here's a lot of good stuff. I can go to Carvel and get a vanilla ice cream cone. Okay? I could also mosey down to Manhattan and maybe get jumped. Or maybe they're not going to do anything. Okay? But there's a lot of good stuff. And I'm here to say that good stuff, you say that, you look at it like it's not going to change. All that you see that's good is in spite of the shit that they're pulling, those people in certain positions. I refuse to say people in power, because they don't have power. They only have what we gave them. They don't only have, as they operate in the shadows, that if it came to light, we would go attack them. Well, they hide exquisitely. But now, having said that, it's us that got up, and we made, and there's no better person to talk to than a trucker. You're on that fucking road, you're with yourself, you're listening to talk radio, you're hearing shit fall apart, the tax goes up, this goes up, that goes up, immigration, let's go to the fucking border. Come on, man, you're selling yourself short. But I got a theory, I've thought it all through, and I got the exact thing to say to you. You're right, you're a little shit, John, and I'm a little shit. But when we put the little shits together, okay, physicists, you mentioned quantum physics. Physicists, they have no idea what gravity is. And they have no idea how it could be so weak. And as weak as it is, it holds me to the ground. Okay? So we just have to learn that. And I'm not saying anything that some people in the past haven't proposed, right? The whole thing of what's going on has always been a question of, come on, people, let's get together. Normally it's been over this issue or that issue. What I'm proposing, you brought up the word, it's a quantum jump. We've got the means, you've got the internet. You can have a website put together where we go and we propose what we need to discuss, what we need to deal with, and people go at their leisure with a cup of coffee. Look, somebody says that we got to deal with fentanyl. Okay. Somebody says we got to deal with this. Well, somebody says, and then we pick the one that goes to the top. Let's deal with this one first. The power of the crowd. Okay. The power of the crowd is amazing. You know, it starts
Sure.
out in your neck of the woods where you got these carnivals that they hold. And like in one carnival, you might have a jar of jelly beans, and they'll give you $50 or they'll give you something if you can guess how many jelly beans. And somebody did a study one time, and what they did is they took a study from everyone, and they made everybody guess how many jelly beans. Some people were like a ridiculous low number, some people were a ridiculous high number. But when they averaged it, they were within like 15 jelly beans over a few thousand jelly beans. It was a few thousand. And when they averaged it, so if you tell me that we can't do it, you're defeated before we get started. I mentioned something and I get it. You're talking to the right person. I mentioned something that's so quantum that when you said to me what you said, I didn't bat an eye. I know what I'm up against. And here I am. I get up every day, and when something new comes up, what's the next thing that's going to come up? Was it the trucker deal in Canada, followed by the trucker deal, followed by fentanyl, followed by planes going into buildings? I'll look into it and I'll research, I'll see which direction, but I'll come back to one thing. I was right. I need to do something. I need to stay focused. It's not stopping. John, it's not going to stop. And it's creeping towards you. It's creeping towards you and it's creeping towards me, and I have no doubt about it. And the only thing stopping it from getting to you right now is people are at work. But what you need to realize is you can put in a certain amount of energy and stop, and the car's going to roll back down the hill. You got to get it to the top of the hill, John. Now, you take a look at the potential for the trucker strike, okay? Let's get back to that, the boycott. That's potential. It's something you never thought of, and once people get a gist of what you're talking about, there's real power there, but it needs to be managed right. There's potential drawbacks, but maybe it's like, let's go full speed ahead. Let's do everything that we can to encourage this to happen. To at least send them, if you're not to get some experience on truckers working together, okay, to see what it's about, to take it another step, because this whole thing, starting with truckers, is new. You said it yourself. It's new. It's a new deal.
Yep.
But the border didn't work out, and the next thing you heard was a boycott for. So it's becoming a thing, and I am positive that, you see what's happening with Trump. You could still go back to sleep on the issue because it didn't hit home. You can look at it and you could say this is something that could show me the direction. We got to do something. But wait, things are going to get worse and worse. The harder it gets, the easier it will become. And what I'm telling you, mark my words, when we really say, what do we have to do? We're going to find out that we have to run the country. You're going to have certain people in key positions. Let me tell you something. I can't resist. I got to get into Trump. So when Chicago Ray was talking about the strike, he mentioned that 90% of truckers are for Trump. I got some bad news for you. I got nothing bad to say about Trump, except for the fact that he isn't going to make a damn bit of difference, because the White House and the Congress, the House of Representatives, are all designed to funnel money out of the coffers of the United States. That's all they're designed to do. They don't know how. They are a lame duck. And when you look at it that way, if you stop for 1 minute and consider, what if that's real? They hold no power. It's the governors that hold the power. So I'll give you an opportunity to talk. I went off on that. I don't know what you got to say about what I just said.
I'm actually only going to ask you one last question, and then I'm going to open this up to the chat because it's been getting pretty busy. So last question I'm going to ask you. Here we go.
Go ahead. Right.
As a resident of New York
Right.
and your ideas of the self-governing thing, if you had the opportunity right now to make your change list for New York, what would you say needs to be done immediately, and what would you say would make it until November?
That's a loaded question. John,
Yeah.
listen to me. Listen, look, I could be popular, and if I would have pursued that avenue my whole life, I would have an answer for you that would be popular. But I've got to be the asshole here, and I'm willing to do it. It don't matter to me. I'm 62. I made it this far, and I'm happy with myself. I'm happy. I'm comfortable in my own skin. And the answer to your question is the system as it is. There's nothing resembling fixing. Listen, look at the focus. You talk about polarization. Look at the focus right now, where you're saying everything is focused on the Democrats and what they're doing. And holy shit, man, people are under the impression that the Republicans are any better. When you look at the Republicans versus the Democrats will skin you. The Republicans will fucking shear you, let the hair grow back and shear you again. Okay, it's just a smarter way. The fucking Dems are right now. If you look at what they're doing, they're just looking to fucking kill people and take whatever they can get because maybe they see the ones that are there. They see their time is limited. The new crew is going to have to come in because the old crew has been exposed. But the Republicans are no better. And when it comes to Donald Trump, nothing bad to say. Let's go out on the limb. That's not even too far of a limb, and say that he has the best intentions for the country. First of all, he waited too late. He waited until he was whatever age, and now things are they're too far gone. The presidency as an office is a lightning rod for all the shit that needs to be done. The Congress, they're there. They'll tell you. I've seen videos where they were standing and say, yeah, we steal candy from babies, but here's what you need to understand about this. I mean, blatantly come out with stuff like that and felt confident. And the truth was, they said what they said and nobody did anything. Okay, you had presidents, you had people working for presidents stuffing stuff from libraries, confidential papers down their trousers. You know, you had presidents in the office sticking cigars up women's snatches. Okay, and he wanted to go and make a mockery of the presidency by debating what is the definition of the word is and what do you mean by sex. Okay, I remember all of this and it's not hard for me, and I'm not doing it not to let it go. I'm doing it as a catalog to remind myself that this thing that needs to be done, I got to stay focused on because it's not going to get any better.
So
And it's hard.
in your mind, there is no categorical list. You're simply, it's either a complete and total change or nothing.
John, listen to me. Answer this question for me.
Shoot.
Who the fuck is Haley? Who's Haley? Where did she come from?
Harry.
Haley, the broad that's running for president. Where did she come from? See, I don't even fucking remember her name. It's with an H.
Oh,
Where
you
did she
talking about
come
Nikki
from?
Haley?
Nikki Haley. Where did she
Oh,
come from? You're asking me to pick
who the
candidates.
fuck is
Who is in the
Harry?
list? No, Haley, you son of a gun. Haley. Who is she? Where did she come from? This woman is running for president. Are you kidding me? So you're asking me who would I pick to run for? What are you talking about? It's all of it. It's it. It's it. We waited and waited because of the uncertainty. We didn't know we couldn't be sure. We had our own problems due to the fact that they made sure we had our own fucking problems. Look at what they did with the stimulus money. Okay, $2 trillion. They put it out into circulation. And now, with the cost of gas and the increased prices of food, you've given back every penny that they gave you, plus some. And now the prices don't go down. The prices stay the way they are. So going forward, things are even more tough. Are you fucking kidding me? You see, when you remember it, it becomes easy. It's not changing. It's not stopping. Everybody's so confused, and God bless them. I understand why. Okay? You deal with what you deal with, and then it goes away and you're just happy. That's the nature of it. But you got certain people that have a clarity. This is what I do. It feels like I was bred to do this. Okay? And I see it. And I'm telling you, John, it keeps getting worse, and you fix it all the way, or you don't. Okay? That's just it. If our
So
civilization is meant,
how do you see that in an understandable description? How do you see what you're implementing
okay,
actually happening?
it
Who
starts
does
this
what?
way. It starts this way. I say the things that I'm saying, and I see who runs. You got a chat going on. Some people are listening to what I'm saying. If they fucking just hung up and said, "I gotta get the," I wasn't expecting this shit. God bless them. And if they're gonna go, leave now. If you're gonna stick around, there's the start. The first thing you got to do. See, with my electronics, I used to repair equipment. And part of repairing equipment is you go through a certain series of checks to troubleshoot a problem. There's just ways of, first things first. Till now, there has been a problem with getting people together, rightfully so. What the fuck? Before somebody, this is human nature. Why am I going to invest in what this guy has to say? So you gotta stay there steadfast and keep repeating it over and over. So I already threw one thing out there. When I start my channel, hopefully some of your viewers might come over there and they'll hear it again. And then if here's the thing, John, if I'm talking shit, I can have a good laugh. I thought people had to run shit and things got fixed all by itself. The government started working right. I can have a good laugh. But you know what? If the next fentanyl crisis or that new drug that they're putting, the trank that turns people into zombies, comes up, you know what that is? To me, that's an affirmation. See, it didn't stop yet, and that keeps me with my proper frame of mind. So here I am with that same frame of mind, and I'm saying it to you. You got to get up in the morning and you got to go drive your truck, man. And I get that. But here's what I am. And I throw it out there and I made the determination. I know what I'm up against and I'll say what I have to say. And it's not important to me anymore. As a younger person, it would have been like, I got to convert them before the conversation is over. And then you go through, and you know what? I realized, listen, I'm not God. I'm not the one ultimately responsible. I'm just playing a certain part. I believe in that part. Things have made it possible for me to believe in that part. And I sit here now and I say the things that I say to you. And whatever you do with them, you do with them. And I'm saying, mark my words, that the things I'm saying are the way that it is. It's always been that way with me. I'm seeing things for how they are. Okay? I know there's no alternative motive. I'm just seeing it for what it is. I enjoy my life. I had the opportunity to get involved in corporate America with my electronic endeavors and be basically a billionaire. And when I seen when the money was coming in by the 20, 30,000 a week, that was soon going to be more. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be part of this. And I walked away. That's who you're dealing with. Now, you don't know if that's true or not, but you don't know enough to call me a liar. And the thing is if you get to know me, you can rest assured that you'll find out if I'm a liar or not. But until then, the truth has a certain ring to it. And listen to what I tell you. We were brought together, at least on my end. I'm hoping that you could agree to some degree because of caring about tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah.
I want to worry about the kids. I want to pass something on to them, but I'm not becoming irate over it. I'll throw it out there. I know I have faith in what I'm saying, and I know that it's going to take a while for people to see. Holy shit, that guy, that was right. What he was saying was right. It is so. You see, I got it all covered, man. I know that when I'm saying we've got to run the government, I know what that sounds like to you. But I also know that if we went back 500 years ago, and I was telling people of that time about white blood cells and red blood cells and oxygen exchange in the lungs and neurons, they fucking go get somebody, they burn me at the stake. Heresy. That was for their day. And now we're into a new thing. And people are like, what? We got to do, no. We're supposed to find the right guy. Trump ain't going to save you because Trump can't save you. You know, he had his debate with Biden, and he hit Biden right between the eyes. Biden was over there saying he was going to do this, that, and the other thing, and Trump came back and says to him, "You were vice president for 8 years. You and Obama, and you didn't do it." And you could see Biden's face drop. He caught him out there. Well, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. You were just the president for 8 years. Why didn't you do it then? Now unfortunately, I could use Trump's words against him. He was already president. Now, don't get me wrong. I will admit, he tried to do the best thing he could for the country. But the office of presidency is no longer viable for making change. It's not set up to do that. He brought in Barr into the FBI. And when he needed Barr to do investigations into the voter fraud, where was Barr? It seemed to me like he could have done pistols at 30 paces on the front lawn of the White House with Mike Pence at the end. That's the relationship I thought that they had. So what? He's going to go in there and what? And now look at the immigrants. You know, if he gets in, he's going to go fucking full bore trying to get these immigrants out. And there goes the first, year, 2 years, or all 4 years. So look, I can keep going on, and I think I'm making points, but I don't know. Okay? So I'm mature enough at this point to understand that. I can talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. So I don't know. I'm going to stop at this point. I kind of let you know where I'm at. I let you know my mindset. And now,
that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to give you the platform to be able to get it out.
Oh, okay. Are you regretting having me on?
No, absolutely not. This is something I really wanted to do. I've been looking forward to it all day.
No, I just needed to know.
Let me get to some of these comments.
Okay.
All right. So, you guys for most of you have been here for a little while. Here we go. Thank you. D, I swear to God, I don't know how you just read my mind and make shit happen. I didn't even think that you could do that. My channel manager is just the most amazing freaking woman ever. So shoot it out. Does somebody have something they want to say, a comment or a question, whatever? It's your time.
Yeah, feel free to tell me to go fuck myself. No problem. No problem. Here we go with another old saying. It's better to have a true enemy than a false friend. Let me know. Where are you? Paul Newman. Paul Newman, love me, hate me, just let me know it. Okay, not a problem.
People from New York, I swear to God, man, you guys, y'all have some of the best ways of just putting shit. I think the accent helps just move it right along.
Okay.
Prince Vibes, you got here late. Yeah, you'll have to check it out before. So does anybody have questions or whatever? We're gonna see. Big Dogma, I love the New Yorker's accent. Yeah, it's always fun. Linda, if he had a free reign tomorrow morning, what would he do?
What would I do?
That's the question. If you had free reign tomorrow morning, what would you do?
Well, I'd like to have a channel set up, a YouTube channel, and I'd like to start.
No, I think she more meant up with country-wise.
Well, that's the whole thing. Listen, you're not going to like it. You don't like it. Why would you like it? You're not going to like the answer. I got to be the bearer of bad news. Fine. We have to work together. It's got nothing to do with me. See, it's already starting off on the wrong. What would I do? This is not romantic. This is not
somebody
exciting.
Has to be a leader. You can't just have everybody going their own direction or there is nothing that's going to happen. That's kind
Listen,
of what this whole thing is at this point.
Okay,
Somebody has to
okay.
lead the snake.
If you want to look at it that way, and we can get started on the right foot, then fine. The first thing to understand is I have certain ways that I've thought about, and if it becomes real, and it really becomes a question, what is the first move? You try to figure it out, and if you can't, it's just like trying to clean up a filthy house. If you can't figure out where to start, you just start anywhere, and then it'll start to come to light. But the first thing you need is you need a difference for real with the attitude that, you know, of difference of opinions. Okay? We can be individuals, but we have to be able to come back together on some level. This is something that's came and went. We need to get back there. This is nothing new. You know,
Big,
I mean,
big Dogma is asking you, would you consider moving out like many others are leaving New York?
no, I would never. I'm going to die here. There's no problem with that. You can't. Are
So
you kidding?
there's no
I'm going to move to your.
situation that would ever come
I'm going
up.
to move to somebody else's part of the country where I can't get a real bagel or boar's head cold cuts. Screw you. And I don't care what they cost. I don't give a shit what they cost. I ain't leaving my bagels, my real cheese pizza, and my boar's head cold cuts. So, big dog, you just mow on that. But I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying here. I
Okay,
left New York.
you got to keep the answer short and concise because we got a
Okay.
lot of them coming. So
All
the
right.
next one is, how do you get New Yorkers to make change? It sounds like the beginning of a joke.
Listen, who do you know is absolutely consistent with the message that I have? You have to be consistent. You start off with a new product, people look the other way until one day they wake up. Let me give you the best example of consistency. You remember all the infomercials? I haven't watched TV in 20 years. When I tell you I haven't watched TV in 20 years, I mean it. Okay? But I remember when I used to watch TV, part of it was all those late night real estate gimmicks where they would teach you how, with a one credit card, to buy 15 properties. Okay? Let me tell you, what they did is they kept being there. And after a while, the human brain says what? It says, "Bing, if they're still there, there must be something to it." And then you put it together with they might be looking for a way to make money and you put the whole thing together. The next thing you know, you're buying into this fraud. Another one is when you go to these third world nations, the ones that do the voodoo cures for cancer, where they pretend to stick their hand into your body and they pull out the cancer.
Oh,
A
yeah,
person
yeah.
is sick. A person is sick, and they try all Western medicine, and there's nothing Western medicine can do. All of a sudden, you're liable to believe. This is what the government and the people of the government and the users, they rely on the fact that this is the way we work. We get desperate. Okay?
All right. So
Now,
remember, I got to remind you, you got to keep these short and
oh,
concise. There's a lot of questions
well,
coming.
okay, look. You want an
Okay.
answer to the question short and concise. Wait, this is me. And you're dealing with, you ask me a question, I
It's
got to
got
at
to be
least get a
short and
chance.
concise. There's too many
Okay.
questions coming.
So the
So,
question was, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll give you this one.
all right. We have another one that said Chicago pizza or New York pizza.
Screw you. There you go, Chicago. Come on. We got a better class of immigrants and pizza here in New York. What, are you kidding me? Chicago. Please. We use
We're gonna have to agree to disagree because
we use
I'm from Chicago. Well, I'm from the Chicago area, Champaign Urbana. So
John, I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
love the deep dish.
Now at this point, I'm sorry I came on this fucking show. With that statement, what am I doing here talking to a guy who, come on, man.
Hey, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah,
Hey.
bada bing, bada boom. Who wants to know? Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so the People's Porch said, what do you think about possibly boycotting the government system? My question would be, with that, what would you do? Like, how would you boycott the government? Now, I know he has a program, and I'll go ahead because I know this is where he's going with it. he started this thing on his channel called the cookie jar, where you put your keys in the cookie jar and you just decide you're not going to fucking work for like a week. And where he's talking like doctors, lawyers, CEOs, people that run a lot of juice and just shut shit down. But I
all right. Let me elaborate on my point.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have to work together. The first thing we have to do is sit down. You see, everybody's in you can get caught up in what's going to, people are doing it right now. They're asking, what is the way? And I'm telling you the way, and it gets overlooked. You need to take a deep breath. These bastards are doing what they're doing. You have to come to grips with remembering certain things. They can't help but do what they're doing. This is who they are. They're psychotic. Okay? They're narcissistic. And they're getting away with it, so why wouldn't they keep getting away? They just keep going. And they're going to keep going. So don't worry about that. It's just take a deep breath. We are, first of all, you're not hallucinating. We are under siege. This ain't a fucking dream. This is happening. If you didn't know a person that got killed in the World Trade Center, you know a person that died of fentanyl. Okay, or a mother or a friend that had a child that died, or what have you. Okay, if if you had a kid that was killed in a mass shooting, or if you know somebody, this is happening. It's not going away. So relax. If a few more of us are going to get taken out, and it looks like that's going to be just relax. Take a deep breath. That's where it starts. They got us all fucking. We got to do that, and if we can't do it in 5 fucking minutes, we think it can't be done. We've been talking, and we knew that we have to get together. I got a load of furniture that I just moved into a new house. I'm giving an example. This didn't really happen. And I got it in front of my house. Now, if I got a family of 4 or 5, we can carry all the things in. But if I got 2 flights of stairs to carry, when it comes time to the hutch or the couch, I need help, man. I need help. Okay? We need to start fucking choosing sides. What side are you on? Now, all the political correctness and the other thing and this thing and that thing, take a deep breath. We're fucking going through this no matter what. Do you really want it to change? Are you still in your shell that you turned off the media? I didn't call it the news. I said the media. You turned off the media 15 years ago because you couldn't listen no more? Or you turned off last week? You're still in that phase where you're trying to hide? There's nothing I can do? Fine. But you're going to have to realize you're going to have to do something. It won't stop. It is not going to stop. Okay? It's coming closer and closer, and we get little lulls in the action just long enough to think that maybe it did stop. And I'm with you, because I was of the same thing. I'm a human being like you. And in the beginning, you sit there and you think to yourself, why do I gotta fucking get up? Or you seem like a fool to think you're gonna get up. The harder it gets, the easier it becomes. It's not stopping, and it's coming for you. It's getting closer and closer. You go back to before the Ukrainian war started. If you're paying attention to anything, you've seen Putin had all of the vehicles lined up outside. Well, we're just doing an exercise. And you were of the opinion,
I remember
that.
I remember that.
And then you said to yourself, nah, he's not going in. And then all of a sudden, one night he fucking went in. Okay?
Yep.
Now, these bastards, they have no fucking thing better to do than to do what they're doing. And if you sit there at this point and you refuse to pick up your cross, you can't blame them anymore. Shame, burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. Now, it's not a bad thing. If you get a chance as an individual to vote on certain things, and there's a website where you can go to, and it's a new world, and your kids are at the fucking sunny beach with the white sand, and you know that they're relatively safe compared to what we've got now. And you know that we resolved the whole drug issue. Are we going to legalize it? Are we going to make it available? We need to get rid of it. We could sit down and discuss all these things. This ain't happening, people. And I know what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to convert any of you because I realize one thing. If what's going on hasn't primed you to get ready to do what you got to do, there's none of my words. My words can only draw you in. Oh, I seen what you were saying. Yeah, you're making. I was thinking the same thing the other day. Look, life is short, okay? In one respect. In another respect, it's too long. Let me give you a quote from the Bible. And they shall seek death, and death shall not find them. You ever been in such a fucked up situation that you swear to God, please just get, and you don't die, you keep waking up the next morning? Well, here
Yep.
we are, people. Okay, whatever you see, however it's getting tough on certain people. Maybe some of you it's really tough. Maybe some of you, it's you got it financially covered, but you're in misery. You got the money. There's nothing for you to do because society is effectively dead. Okay, it's not going to change. I know what I'm saying is foreign to people. Of course it is, and it's been hidden from you, and they will work well, first they won't see it because that's the way it is. They don't see. They're focused on what they're focused on, and it won't change until we work together. So if you're asking me what would the first thing I would do is I would try to round up the troops. What else are you going to do? What am I going to get the whole fucking army of Republicans and Democrats standing in front of me, holding their chains and their bats and their fucking briefcases, parting their hair to the left and to the right, fixing their ties. What am I going to do by myself? That's my message. And because it seems so insurmountable, and I'll be the devil's advocate why it's so difficult. You just said you went up to the border. Everybody had the right intention. There it is. Holy shit. This may be it, man. And when you got there, shit started to fall apart. Okay, fine. But what then? What now? The next issue was this potential boycott, but it's opened up the possibilities. The first thing that you have to do as an individual, you ask me about me, I learned what to do. It's not to go back to sleep and think that things are going to get fixed. And it was so fucking off putting because I kept reverting back to, okay, we'll see what happens. You get used to the building's collapse. Everybody's in shock for a while, but then you get used to it. It's like, it's just a human nature thing. You can't keep sitting there with your mouth hanging open. And you realize that you keep going back to think like it used to be. I'm 62. I remember when you would hear about something, it would get dealt with, and you could rely on that. There was somebody out there dealing with it. Today, it's just waiting for the next thing. And it's a very hard thing to do. But you need to train yourself to understand what's going on. And you do that by taking some time to truly write sticky notes if you have to. This guy said, wait for the next thing. Put the sticky note on your computer. And when you hear the next thing, it's going to help you to realize I can't go back to sleep. As strange as it is that I have to participate in fixing this problem, it's real. It's not stopping. It's our fucking nature. You run and you fall and you skin your knee. Nature conveniently takes care of it. It scabs over. It protects us from infection. And then one day the boo-boo's gone. We're not dealing with that now. It's almost as if God is saying, you got to wake the fuck up. You had your free time. Now you got to wake up. Don't ask me why. I'm God. I'm telling you, you got to wake up. Everything's telling us we got to wake up. But human nature is also telling us we got to stay asleep. Let somebody else deal because that was the norm. And everybody's paralyzed. Stop and tell me that if you are not sitting there thinking, what we need to do is get Trump back in office. And here I am to fucking let you know, to make you think. And I wish nothing on Trump. This fucking guy might drop dead 2 minutes from now. And he might drop dead while they're swearing him in. And he might get in. And what the fuck is he going to do as one man? Look at what they did to him the first time. Yeah. Hello, welcome to reality. This whole thing about Trump, what they did to Trump. And we've turned it psychologically. You see, you would say, think about it. I got this great point that I came up with just today, and it's like a holy shit. If you sit there and you think about what they're doing to Trump, what happens in your head is you think they're trying to keep Trump out of there because he's going to fix things. They're not trying to keep Trump out because he's going to fix things. They're trying to keep Trump out because they want to stay in. And there's a difference. You would think that Trump is going to be able to fix things with what they're doing to him. Why are they trying to keep? They're not trying to keep him out because he's going to fix things. They're going to circumvent him. There's nothing he can do from the White House. I want you to just stop. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but at this moment, I want you to stop. I'm going to stay silent for about 10 seconds. And I would appreciate if you just stop to think, what is Trump as an individual going to do from the White House without help? He brought in Barr. Barr was of no use. He left him out to dry. Now all of a sudden Barr is saying, I would vote for Trump over Biden. Get the fuck out of here. Go jump off a bridge, you motherfucker. Okay? You got, I mean, so now I want you to just stop and think. Just understand, I'm not attacking Trump. See, I'm seeing the different angles. I'm working on this. I'm expending energy. I understand that when I'm saying this about Trump, you think I'm attacking him. So I have to specifically go out on a limb. I'm not against Trump. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he's exactly what you think he is. But what can he do? What can he do? Think about it.
Well, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. I've got a couple other people that want to put in some answers for this kind of stuff.
Okay.
So for tonight, as far as this, there we go. So for tonight, I'm gonna say we're good. Thank you for coming on here and doing this.
Okay,
I'm gonna bring
John.
a couple others on and kind of expand this and see where else we can go with it.
Okay, great. It was a good experience for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for popping on, Angelo. Seriously, I have no words. I'm really grateful that you decided to do this with me.
Well, I'm happy to have done it. I'm happy to have met you, and I think maybe in the future going forward, I might drop you an email from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. Yeah, I'd love to hear
Sounds
from you.
good. Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Okay.
Yes, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so People's Porch is literally going to bust a blood vessel if we don't give him an opportunity to speak. He's started to vibrate, and I think he might have gone cross-eyed and maybe even dropped a tooth in his butt. So I'm gonna get actually it'd probably just be it'd probably just be easier. Let's just do it this way because I don't know what this thing is here. All right, so well, shit. Let's try that again. Paste. There we go. Okay, so People's Porch. There you go. Click on it. Hop on. I'm going to give you a chance to talk so that you don't absolutely have a coronary in your van. He's literally been rattling to answer some of this because there were some questions that I was searching for more of a direct answer, and it kind of drifted a little bit. So he was like, oh wait, let me answer. So I was like, okay. People's Porch. There we go. Okay. So wait, no, that can't be him. Is that him? No.
Hey, I'm not going to waste a lot of time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to waste a lot of time, but in regards to Angelo, really liked a lot of his talking, but he didn't really have anywhere to go with all of what he was saying. I think a takeaway is that Trump knows next time not to make the same mistake of having all those pansies like he did last time. That's really all I got to say.
All right. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. So let's find out here. All right. So from the first answer, you started really going nuts. Was as far as making change and trying to bring that about, where do you start?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're the only freaking guy on my screen here.
I didn't hear.
What the fuck you doing? Hey, get the fuck out of here.
I didn't hear you. You talking to me? Who you talking to? Who you talking to?
You got a
Love you,
van light
John.
in there? I feel like I'm talking to a ghost. Turn some lights
Let
on.
me see if I can turn it on. Turn on the van, eh? Let me turn on the van so I can turn on some lights. Does it help a little bit?
There we go. Yeah, now we can see it.
Yeah, I don't
You're
have spotlights all over the place.
There we go.
I don't have all this light back here.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad.
So where do you start?
Well, I'm glad you asked to do the question, and the guy had a lot of really good answers, right? Angelo, is that his name?
Yeah.
And okay, we all know what's going on, and all this. And he's going through all that, over that, and over that, and over that. Well, we got to look at here. What is the fix, right? Do we sit here and just keep on wiping our butts and get flushed down the toilet? Because that's where we're going. Okay, that's a fact. He definitely stated that. Okay, so do we sit around, wipe our butts, and get flushed down the toilets, or do we do something? Okay, we definitely can't keep on doing the same system over and over and over, right? It's already proved itself to keep on going downhill. Can we pick up our pitchforks and attack the beast? We can't do that neither. Live by the sword, you die by the sword. So you got to be smart. Okay? Right now, the problem we all know, without going into all the details, is our government system. And we got to hold them accountable. How do we hold them accountable? We can't vote the right people in because they don't give us the right people to vote in. Okay? And then they're not voted in. They're selected. They're not elected. That is a fact, and everybody pretty much knows that. If you don't know that, you got to do some research. So what we're talking about, just to lead it in, just to end it up, or whatever, I just come up with this great idea. Basically, instead of using the word boycott, right, the cookie jar project. The old saying, we all used to, back in the day, hide the keys in the cookie jar, right? So cookie jar project. We need to boycott the United States. And it has to go viral. And it's not going to take 10,000 people. It takes every person, like when we were in the convoy, the millions that we've seen in Canada and the United States on the side of the roads, waving their flags and their banners, and on the overpasses, the millions that we've seen come together and just say, I don't consent. I refuse to participate. We want to boycott New York. What does that mean? Not going to New York, right? So boycott the government, okay? They're a business. It's the United States of America. That is a corporation, right? We are the United States. The corporation is the United States of America. That's the people running this country, okay? Or supposed to be. We're not going to get into any crazy detail, okay? So how do you stop them? How do you hold them accountable? They're a corporation. How do you make a corporation do what it's supposed to do? You stop bringing in the money. We are the ones bringing in their money, right? We all go to work and we make them their money because we are their slaves. How do you end, let's just say, a rancher's little slave house? The slaves stop working. The rancher's done. Party's over. Then the slaves can ask for just about anything they want. And the rancher is going to have to do something, or else otherwise he loses everything. Okay? We hold them accountable. We stop being the slaves. We stop going to work. We sit right there until we go viral, right? Little things like this, little TikToks, little things. I'm in the cookie jar project. I'm staying home until our government does what the American people want. Now, that's, of course, a very broad stroke, but it has to be absolute things that the American people as a whole need. Like, of course, we know the borders absolutely need to be shut down. The swamp absolutely needs to be drained, because who's running this country? Every single one of them, just like the gentleman said, they are narcissists and they're psychopaths that are running this country. Every one of them may agree with me, may not. Okay. But that's who's running our country. Okay. And they need to go. There's millions of very intelligent people, millions of, or thousands, let's say, very, very intelligent people that can do that job and would love to have the job and do it correct. Now we know already who and what money is influencing these people. We know this. Okay? How you influence big money, you stop making them big money. And I would dare say, if it went viral, you get 50 million people, like you said, high-hitting people that go to work, high-hitting jobs. You get 50 million people doing that. You get it going viral. Canada would jump in, all right? Though the other countries of the world would jump in. And I'm telling you, in a week of that, we would get everything that we ask for. And of course, all within reason, not stupid stuff, real important stuff. We do have the power, the American people, the people of the world, citizens do have the power. Okay, we do, but we got to do it. Bud Light went viral, right? Bud Light went crazy viral. Budweiser, whoa, what the heck is going on here? Same thing. United States of America is a corporation. Boycott it, and they will surrender like Bud Light and all that other crap. That's all it is. Is it the fix? I feel so. I feel we have to hold the government accountable, and I feel that's a way to do it without pitchforks. Okay? I could be wrong, but I know no one's ever tried that. And if we stick with a system that we have been using ever since this country's been a country, it's never going to work. This system has been designed from the beginning to be exactly where it's at today. And it's going farther. And what it is, they want to show you, I got to turn on the heat. They want to show you that the system is so bad. They want it to be corrupt so it can be changed. You can't fix what doesn't need to be fixed. But if you prove something is broken, then you have to fix it. And what have they been talking about? The reset, a one world government. That's what they're preaching. That's what they're going for. And to do that, they got to prove that our system is flawed to bring in a new system. And that is their new world order. That's it. That's all I got to say about it.
All right. So I'll go ahead and shoot what I see here. So much like Angelo, my answer is going to be very similar. The plan you have makes something happen. Okay. Whatever. Let's say that what you're talking about right now happens. Everybody does this cookie jar shit. They stop. Okay. Now, somebody has to be in charge of this show. So at some point, all of these people that are participating in your project have to have said, this is our voice that we want to go up there and say, this is what we're looking to do. The first thing they teach you in hostage negotiation is find out what they want. Okay. Then, work from there. It's the same thing. So whether we're voting a president, a governor, a senator, a mayor, it doesn't matter. We're always going to have to vote somebody as the head of the snake. You don't have a body without a head, okay? There has to be one, period. So I understand the theory of how to get something to be heard or to be seen or to be noticed immediately, kind of like the boycotting thing. But at some point in time, somebody has to say, okay, this is what we're all going for. Now, here's where you come into a problem with that. just like we have Democrats and we have Republicans, okay? You're never going to get that many people to all agree on a single unit. That's never going to happen. I don't give a shit what fantasy world you're in. That's never going to happen because everyone they might be concise with their main things. We all want to breathe. We want to eat. We want to live. We want to be free. Okay, cool. But then the guy says, well, I want to live, eat, breathe, and I really want more chicken in my diet. And the other guy says, chicken, are you an asshole? No, we want steak, and you're just like the convoy. You start to break into these little divisions. Okay. So basically, although your idea is an idea of doing it, if you follow the road to the end, you're still left with the same situation we're in now, because you're going to have groups break off, okay, and form their own little groups. And then this little group says, well, you're going to be the voice of our group. And this group says, you're going to be the voice of our group. Governors, mayors. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? There has to be more of a system.
Absolutely. So you have to have a speaker, right? It has to be done smart. It's not going to be done by me. Okay. I'm not smart enough to run the show. Okay. I can design a Ferrari, but I can't drive the Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? You got to have somebody run the show. Our system is a good system. It's just ran by psychopaths. They have to be fired. We hired them. They have to be fired. Like Trump ran on, drain the swamp. There's thousands of very intelligent people that can fill those jobs instantly, real fast. Okay. So in the cookie jar project, you have intelligent people being the voice. All of us can be the guys. I'm a part of the cookie jar project. I stand with that. I'm not moving. I'm not going to work until they make these very few, but very, very important changes. Okay. We're not talking about this and that and these goofy things. Okay. We're standing for one cause, like they stood up for Bud Light. You get the drift. One cause. This is it. We have a speaker who speaks, or a few speakers who speak, that are very intelligent people that are speaking for the American people, the cause. And then you have a fix. And if it's firing every one of them because we hired them, it's obvious they're not doing their job. We all know this. So they need to be fired. Okay? That would not come instantly, but there are many that will fill the jobs. But the things that can come instantly are the things that is destroying this country right now. Open borders is definitely
why? Okay, yeah, exactly. What you're saying, though, and if you'll think about this very carefully, what you're saying is what we already have in place. If we get Trump in, right, everything that I have considered needs to be addressed, he's spoken about throughout these different talks that he's done. So here's where that gets messed up, though. When he left, things were great, but we have 4-year term limits. So then we get Biden and everything turned to shit. Okay, now we're trying to get Trump back to fix it.
I have the fix for that, right? We hired Trump for some major things, what he campaigned on. Trump did a good job, but he didn't do the job. He did not drain the swamp, which was one of the main reasons, he was campaigning on, right? He did not do that. That was the most important thing in my book, okay? And then he did not make laws, okay? Any president could come in just like the next time. Say Trump gets in again. Great. Things will get better. I believe that 100%. But then when the next clown comes in, it's all out the window. Okay? Trump should have made laws. Once you make a law, it's forever. You're just like the law down the street. You can't tie the horse on the water spigot. It's a law, okay? But it's a law, okay? Serious laws, okay? Serious laws that cannot be taken out the next president comes in, okay? Serious laws that the American people want. Like, again, it is against the law to come into this country illegal. And if
We already have
anybody,
that.
do
It's
we?
just a matter of they decided we don't need to follow it.
Right.
And that's
So
exactly so. Even
so
with that's
who
just like
decided
saying,
that?
but
Who
that's just like
decided?
saying we need to make more gun laws. It's not going to change anybody getting their hands on a gun because it's really simple. So
Okay,
how
who
does
changed the
making
laws?
more laws affect change?
I'm trying to think the word properly. Okay. there is laws, right? And we got the laws of the land. Okay. There are laws, and then there are people hired to enforce the law. If they don't enforce the law for the reasons that we hired them, right, to the oath that they swore, called our military, our country is being attacked. You know what oath I had to say? To defend this country from both foreign and domestic. We've got a massive domestic problem going on here. Massive. Okay? Our military forces, okay, should be doing its job. The job that I swore an oath to when I was in the military, to defend this country, the American people, from foreign and domestic. Our militaries were not formed to go fight wars and do this and do that and do that. That's not what they were formed for. They were formed to protect the American people. What these people, these psychopaths, these narcissists that got themselves into the government system from big money, okay, they're doing what they want to do. They need to be out. That's all there is to it. And that's what I loved what Trump was saying. I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to get rid of these crazy psycho narcissists, okay, and get real smart, educated people that love our country and love the citizens of this country. Who's in there now? They hate us. And we are nothing but their slaves. That is the truth, okay? So they have to go. So, right, yeah, it's already a law that they can't cross the border, right? Why is our government, right? Why is our military not protecting us?
They do what they're told. Somebody actually made a good point, which is when you're in the military, your first order is to follow whatever the hell you're told to do. If you don't do that, then you're gone.
Unless it's an unconstitutional order.
And how has that worked out?
Well, you got to do your job,
But
right? You
let's
got to
look
do
at
what you
what
swore
is
to.
happening.
If I
Let's
have
look
a
what
colonel
is
come up to
happening.
me and tell me when I was in the military, come up to tell me, hey, go shoot that civilian. That was a direct order from a colonel. Let's just say that. Do I obey that? Am I required to obey that order? No, I'm not. My job in a whole is to defend the American people. That's what we were all hired for. The colonels, the brass above me, and every soldier, my rank, below me, above me. That is our job, to defend this country. If we have the commander in chief tell us, go fire against American people, every soldier has the absolute legal right to say, no, sir.
You can. And just like Cricket Day here, which is a new name I've never said, you'll be out on your ass, which is
Well,
exactly what happens. because keep in mind,
strength in numbers. The mob rules,
again,
and we are the mob.
It all boils down to, no matter which way you take this road, it ends up being where we're already at. It ends up coming into a system that we kind of already have in place. So it's not a matter of trying to fix the system. It's more of a matter of trying to fix the people within the system. And, that's really the biggest key thing here for me,
You can't fix a narcissist.
We're never going to have a perfect system. That's a utopia. Utopia does not exist. It's fictional. So
absolutely,
with it just saying without the utopia part, wait a minute, this John, if they give me an illegal order to follow, please by all means put me on my ass if it means I don't have to break my oath to this country. Yeah, okay. Mutt, gotcha. Okay. Shit, I lost my train of thought.
Well, you're correct. I'm gonna reel you back in. Okay, there's never going to be a perfect society. The perfect society that can be perfect society is a society under our God in heaven. People believe that. People don't. One day there will be that perfect society, but today we live in an imperfect world. Every one of us are sinners. We're never going to get perfection, but we can bring order out of chaos. There is chaos in our government system. The system is not flawed. It's who is in there and who put them in there. Okay? That's the flaw. A psychopath is a psychopath. A narcissist is a narcissist, and you're not going to fix them. Okay? You got to get rid of them. Say I'm a plumber and I don't do my job. Know what you do? You get rid of me. These people are not doing their job. They're doing their job, but they're not doing the job that they were hired to do.
Right.
And you're not going to fix the
Cricket Day saying the exact same thing. Which is what I was trying to say earlier. You can't really change the government, but you can change the people within the government. I honestly think if it was to just be a matter of, getting, one of the things that Trump talked about that I liked among everything else was getting the voting system to work the way it was intended to work, which is a paper ballot on special paper, so that the elections are no longer a possibility of being rigged. It's this piece of paper was done at this point, and it's a fair deal. Okay. At the end of the day, there's no questions,
absolutely.
And you elect good people to run.
So he makes that an absolute law when he's in presidency, that this is the way it's going to be done. This is the absolute law, right? Where the people are elected by the people, not selected. Right now, these people, and people agree with me or not, you just have to think or whatever. These people are in there right now. They have all been selected. Okay. American people did not elect these people into the government. I'm telling you right now, in low levels, in small towns and villages and stuff like that, absolutely. These people in DC, they have been selected. They have not been elected by the American people.
And I would tend to entertain that more so. I could see that would probably take place. But again, if we were to get this all done with to where we know that our vote is actually worth it, and you get people actually wanting to go out because they believe, okay, my voice is actually going to be heard. It's not going to be deleted or hacked into or changed, then you're going to have a much better result because people now have confidence in the system. So again, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know how much, again, you and God, I've already forgotten his name.
Paper ballots and stuff. like
Yeah,
that, you absolutely have to have an
it's not
ID.
change the system.
Right. You absolutely have to have an ID. It should be this way. You should absolutely have an United States citizenship ID. You know, ID like we all carry in our pockets, right? And it should have to be done on paper. Absolutely, absolutely. That would do a very, very good thing. But if we continue to do what we've been doing since this country's been a country and think we're going to get a change, that is the definition of what is that? That's a definition of what is it?
Yeah,
It's
insanity.
not great. Insanity. That's the
Yeah.
definition of insanity. We are doing the same thing over and over and over. It's called elections, right? And we're expecting a different outcome.
Yeah, Thomas
History's
Carter
already
put up a good point. They do not want you to vote if you're not voting for the person they want in office. But that goes both ways. That goes both ways. Now, we have managed to expose, in the past few years, we've exposed more corruption in the government than ever before in history, between Hillary Clinton, Epstein, Bill Clinton. There's one after another with the Bidens and Hunter, and like we're getting exposure to corruption that you couldn't get before because of the internet and instant information and leaks and whistleblowers. You know, we're in an amazing era to change the way things used to go with the let's meet under the oak tree and work this deal out. I'll pay you, then I'll go shoot this guy and we're done. We have an opportunity to take advantage of that. But the problem is, after exposing it, nothing's happening. But we'll fine Trump $355 million for doing something that's not illegal. So this is my issue. It's not the system that needs to be fixed, it's the fucking people in it. That is
That's
the
right.
issue. You fix the people,
That is
everything will work itself out.
absolutely. So what is that? And I loved it. That's why so many people got on board with Trump. I'm going in there and I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm telling you right now, if everybody would remember that biggest thing that he campaigned on, and everybody was loving it. Just that one thing alone was draining the swamp, because we all know the people in our system. It's a good system. It's bad people in it. Everybody knows, and that's why they hired Trump, to drain the swamp. It's not the system. It's the people in the system. Those people got in the system.
Now it's just a matter of seeing if he can pull it off.
Yeah, but he's not going to drain the swamp again. Okay? I would hope he does. I would hope these psychopaths, these narcissists, I mean, we're talking full-blown for real. Okay? These people got to go. Okay? They were selected. They're put in there for a reason. There's a lot of deep, deep stuff, and I don't even dare say them on your site because of ears from the outside, from the system, will shut this thing down in a heartbeat. Okay? There's big, big things, deep, deep things. I'm not going to get into that, right? But if we can get real people in, just get real people in that will not be influenced by other powers with their money and their power to make them do and say the things that they do and say in our government system. If we get people in there that love you, love the American citizens, love America, and love freedom, and are true patriots, okay, and are not psychopaths and are not narcissists, this system will be absolutely amazing. And for one thing, they really need to, and I have to say this, they really need to believe in God Almighty, our Father in heaven, because that is what this nation was founded on. That was the main principle of the United States of America, or the United States. This country was founded by biblical principles. I mean, that's just the truth. I agree with that because I love the Lord. There's a lot of people out there who don't love the Lord. But that's the truth, what this country is founded on. That's why we have on our dollar bills, "In God We Trust." That's why when there's any crazy natural disaster or unnatural disaster, let's all go in prayer for this. Like the other gentleman mentioned the World Trade Centers, right? What did everybody do? What did TV do? What did all the newscasts do? What did the president do? Let's go in prayer for our country. There's a basic fundamental, and you or anybody else may believe it or not. That's between them and God. But the basic fundamental of this country is we should believe in our Father in heaven and be obedient to his laws, what we would call the 10 Commandments. Okay? If we obeyed the 10 Commandments, all of us and as individuals, this would almost be paradise.
Yeah, there's a lot. And we've covered a lot of ground. I'm gonna let you go for now. We'll pick this up. I'm gonna let you go for now, and then I'm gonna close out because I actually have to get sleep. I've been going 2 hours and 11 minutes, and I only get a 10-hour break, and then I have to be up and out. So I'm gonna let you go, and then I'm gonna close. Give some last final words, and then we'll pop on again another time.
All right, I love you, brother. I really do, John. I hope sometime we meet up in at home and stuff. I love you, brother. Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely, bro. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, so this went in a lot of directions, y'all. Again, I wasn't sure. I've never, really done an interview like this. So this was a first for me, trying to navigate, from the comments that I had got, and then trying to develop questions that would work. And then the answers kind of went different places. But all in all, I'd have to say it was a lot of fun. I don't know, we covered a lot in quite a short time. But I want to thank everyone for stopping by and hanging out with me tonight. Cricket Day. By the way, I got a chance to see some of your comments going by, and I really like a lot of the comments that you shot out there. There were a lot of good comments from a lot of people, but your picture is so stand out that I would see that and see your comment, and so I want to say thanks for stopping in. I've not seen you before, but I hope you come back again. I enjoyed reading your comments. And of course, there were so many flying by. I was catching as many as I could. OTR Survival thought I was off. No. No. Larry, you're not off. We just yesterday ran out too. But at any rate, we will do this again. I mean, this has been a lot of fun, and I'd like to try to do this again. If we could get, some more folks to just kind of come on and just do, maybe not this particular topic, because I think we kind of covered a lot, but, different situations going on. I would also like to delve a little deeper into the whole immigration thing and what's going on, because he had brought up something I did not know, and that was that if you're an illegal and you come here illegally, if you join the military, they will give you citizenship. That blew my mind. I had not heard that until today. So I would definitely love to delve into that a little more. And another thing is that there are 26 states that are banded now to help Texas, and 13 of those states are sending National Guard and cops. Sun Honey, and now a word from our sponsors, like Sun Honey, you're awesome. Thank you. We got 13 states that are sending police and National Guard to go help. And you want to talk about kind of a something that's not really being talked about. I can't think of another time other than Civil War when states were coming together like this and bonding and saying, hey, look, you know what? Screw it. The government is completely out of fucking control. we're taking back over. I really think that would be a phenomenal conversation to have because there's so much going on with it. And I don't know if you've happened to look at the vast amount of change that's happened over the last 10 years from states that were Democratic and are now Republican. It's changed a lot. I mean, wow. It was, pretty toss up for a while, but over the past 10 years, it is a majority red. And I'm telling you, for some reason, we lose on this one. I I think that could be the actual tipping point that knocks the whole shit cake over. Uh, so again, that would be a huge conversation I'd really love to have. I've had a lot of different things that I've heard, and I don't, and I know I get so many things from you guys that I've never heard. I learn more from this channel than I do anything else, because the people here are so real, and that's what I love about this channel is I actually get real information, not bullshit. So it makes having the conversations a lot more worth it, because you actually are talking about real deals, not crap. So at any rate, yeah, if you guys are into that, I'd really enjoy doing that. Get a couple people that are a little more knowledgeable than myself with everything. I try to keep up, but obviously I'm doing about 100 different things all at once, so it gets a little tricky trying to find all the nooks and crannies. But yeah, if you if this is something you're really into and you have what you would consider a pretty fair wealth of knowledge as far as what's going on, how it's all going, do me a favor, email me at otrsurvival@gmail.com and let me know. And let's work out, just like we did tonight. Let's work it out to where I could bring you guys up and have this conversation. I'd really enjoy doing that. If you guys have an idea of a show that you think would be fun to do or a topic to talk about, email me. I'm always up for suggestions. I do not mind different opinions. I encourage that. If you don't agree with me, I think it's great. Just be able to explain why you don't agree with me. Don't just tell me I'm too stupid to understand or something like that. I don't want to hear that. Give me something to think about, and I am totally down with entertaining you. So, at any rate, with that, I will bid you all good night. And again, thank you so much for doing this with me. This was a real pleasure for me. I know it got kind of weird and all, but you know, you don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So that's the beauty of live. You try to do the best you can. Let's talk about those symbols on the dollar bill. Okay, real quick before I close, you guys are killing me. Every time I'm ready to kill this thing, you guys are shooting me with something else. Damn it. Cricket Day. What is the name of the thing? Oh my God, the big society that's super secret and everything. The Illuminati. Oh my God. Now I know this is huge, but if any of you guys are big Illuminati fans, I do not know a lot about that. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I would have to do a little bit of research to even have the conversation to know what questions to ask. But if you guys are down with the whole Illuminati thing, hit me up. I'd love to do that one too. And again, any ideas you guys have, just shoot it to me. I'm up and open for anything. I really enjoy getting a chance to do this and talking all different kinds of stuff. The Masons, yes, as well. Yeah, I'd love to have that conversation. That is a history that goes way back. Yeah, the Freemasons. Yeah, that's again, KV. Yes. So I'd love to do all that. So hit me up by all means. Please email me. Let me know what you are really into and what you are very well versed in, and I'll bring you up and we'll have a really fun time with doing another show like this. So okay, KV, you're into it. That's awesome. I'd love to have you on and bring up a couple other folks and we could have an amazing night. So until next go around, I look forward to seeing your guys' emails and comments. Please let me know. All right. Have a wonderful evening, guys. I love you all. Thanks again. D, take me out of here.